Let me make sure I got sound. It looks like we could do. Let me double check. Yeah, we got sound, we got lights, we got action. Welcome all of you, holy ones. Much respect to all of you coming here to this sacred space together. Tonight, as we talk about empaths and dark empaths and what those actually mean. Machiwa. Because surely in today's landscape in the world, we have these type of consciousness. It's been studied by psychologists. But that's not the point of view that we're, perspective that we're talking about tonight. Yeah, sure, it's a psychological thing. I mean, it's something that psychologists can deal with or work with. But it actually is a psychic perception. We didn't say empathy. We said empath. A type of being who is psychic. And so let me lay this down because it's not really cool to be talking while I'm trying to do this. Real quick here, let me put some white copal down. There's a big chunk right there. Some gold copal. Some frankincense. Some benzoin. And finally, some amber. I had to get a new chunk. Looks like fudge. It's not fudge. But it's very powerful resin. There we go. Spiritual hygiene, holy ones. 101. Something you always want to be mindful of. Something you always want to take care of, right? Smudging. Use sage, desert sage, or you can even use sweetgrass. Or resins like I'm using. Frankincense is one of the strongest. If you want to choose just one, that's the best one right there. Thank you much. Respect for that. So, an empath is literally someone who can feel the emotions of another person. Literally feel what they're feeling in their body. Now that goes beyond being, empath. What's that word that you say? Caring about someone or feeling someone's emotions. Or I would say just sensing their emotions. But actually, empath is literally, it's a psychic ability that can be far from a distance, and you're feeling their emotions. And when you start feeling their emotions, you basically can perceive what they're thinking. That's not telepathy, but it's like almost as close as telepathy. Because, you guys, I've experienced that. When I lived in Ukraine for a couple of years, I was, always around. I was very social, and I was around a lot of people. And there was one time where I would say there was about 6, 7, 8 people, about 8 people in the room. And it was like a party situation, so I was smoking. But regardless, it activated, it turned on that empath part of myself. So I literally was feeling everybody's emotions. Now, this is before I was on a spiritual journey. So this sudden feeling or, experience scared me. I'm like, what the hell is this? Man, I had a lot of powerful psychic experiences in Ukraine. Specifically, I lived mostly in Odessa. They call it Odessa Mama over there. I lived right by the Black Sea for a while, so that was beautiful. And I'll never forget those memories, those experiences. But so that was my own confirmation. Whether other people will believe in that or not, I don't need them to believe. And you brothers and sisters out there who are empaths, you don't need anyone else to believe. Your other brothers and sisters, indigos, starseeds, hello, we can relate. Some of us too are empaths. Now, I'm not empathic all the time, but there's some of you who are always got that turned on, whether you want it or not. I mean, think about the person who doesn't want to be feeling any person's emotions that are near them. I had an ex-girlfriend, and before I was spiritual, I didn't believe in all this stuff. But she was empathic, she was super psychic, she was what in the world? And actually, way later, when we were both adults, she told me that, but she also revealed why she broke up and all this stuff is because she was feeling so overwhelmed with this empathic ability. And so you got your own, let's say you got your own issues and emotions, but now you're stacking that with someone else's emotions. That was too overwhelming for her. Now, 25 years later, we're both psychic and both, having these paranormal, supernatural experiences. So we can now relate and understand. When we're kids, teenagers, still kids, when we were still kids, we didn't know what was going on or how to deal with it. Okay? So an empath is someone who is psychic. They're literally feeling what other people are feeling. And there could be people in the audience or people who watch the replay or whatever who don't believe this stuff exists. You guys, they're on their own path, are they not? We don't need them to believe. So imagine a psychic person feeling other people's emotions. Now, imagine a dark empath. Okay, a typical narcissist with psychic abilities. So that is what we're going to be talking about tonight from the Emerald Order point of view, from a Christic point of view, because that's how we Guardians roll. That's our source. That's our... I'm trying to keep the microphone farther away from me because some people are saying the audio is too loud. I apologize. I'll try to figure out that problem. The first step I did was lower the decibels on OBS. And then the second thing I'm doing is pushing the microphone back a little bit. So hopefully that'll help. So yeah, you guys, write it in the comments below if you also are an empath or have had, like me, some isolated empathic experiences. It is a trip, especially when you weren't expecting it. And so no wonder some people who are empaths, they don't want to hear a bunch of other people's emotions and stuff. So they want to just be alone. They will seek, seclusion because it drives them nuts. I mean, you've seen, some movies where the characters have psychic abilities. They don't want to hear other people's thoughts or feel other people's emotions because the world is in spiritual bondage. The world is full of narcissists and psychopaths and dark psychologies, like an empath, dark empath. And so, thank you so much for hanging with us tonight. If you guys have any questions during this live, please put Christos Avatar TV, that phrase, somewhere in your message. I think you might have to use the @ sign, Christos Avatar TV, and then I will see your question. Thank you, guys. So since this is live, we have an audience with us here. Let me say hello. Because a lot of people are dealing with dark empaths, narcissists, psychopaths. So this is very relevant in any time, really, but especially nowadays. And also, it's another fact that whether you're aware of it or not, there is an awakening happening on Earth. Usually when there's not an awakening, when there is no stellar activation cycle of the planet, with the gates opening, stargates, well, there wouldn't be so much psychic activity as much as now. Like now, in these circumstances. So we got 76 people so far. That's a good start. Sir Madison, what's up, brother? Woohoo! Our first moderator. Usually he's the first one here. Thank you so much, Sir Madison, for being here. He says, my Chihuahua family. Many blessings, brother. Good to see you, man. We have Lady Tracy Ann. Thank you for being here, Star, sister. Much respect to you. We got Handpad Mermaid. Woohoo! My Chihuahua. Happy Sturgeon Full Moon. I don't celebrate the full moon, but blessings to all of you who do. Much respect. Thank you for being here, Handpan. Yeah! Sunset Dreams in the house. It's the same thing as 8/8. Yesterday, I don't celebrate that New Age stuff. You don't hear Guardians talking about 8/8. Okay, just saying. But I respect your beliefs. Honestly, sincerely, I respect your guys' beliefs. So I'm developing the Kelantic science point of view. We're going to be talking about that soon. I'm literally in the middle of editing this Kelantic science video. It's 45 minutes long, so it'll take probably a few more days, but hopefully by this weekend or right after the weekend, it should be ready to go. Well, it's the weekend now, I guess. So, wow, wait, dang, it's already the weekend. What am I saying? It's Saturday. Yeah, so maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. So, I'm a perfectionist. I'm trying to make it as good as possible and not so boring because it's a very technical topic to talk about, because I just want to say, after I said that stuff about New Age beliefs, you guys, not just New Agers, but humans in general actually have no clue what the sun is or what the moon is. When you learn these actual this is called the hologram of matter. We're all holograms. And there's a holographic particle science. And so what we think and what we follow on Earth is just simply a distortion. So, Machiwa. Sunset Dreams, woohoo! Sarah Holder, blessing sister. Machiwa fellow starseed and indigos. Good to see you, Sarah. Blessings to you. Much respect. Thank you for being a moderator and watching and part of Team Light. Machiwa. Lipton, we're going to have a great stream. Holy Ones, I love that attitude. It's exactly how we put that intention. Thank you, Holy One. El Salvador, Mahara, like Kathara. There's a big body of these teachings called Kathara. Ka, light, Ra. Wait, I skipped one. Tha is sound. Light, sound. Ra means the one. That's unity consciousness. That's law of one. Light, spirit, one. Ka, Tha, Ra. Speak Lirananahazi, homies. What's up? Some of you guys have been studying Mahara. Mahara is like the Maharata, the inner Christos, and that's what these entire, you would say, channel and videos are all about, or based on the inner Christos. My email is innerchristos@gmail. I was so grateful that was available. Machiwa, holy ones. Anuhazi, dude! Woohoo! I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking, Holy One. I mixed your messages. Sorry, that was handpan. Sorry. We got Og369. Umahun. Blessings to you, Holy One. Vincent. Machiwa is my late language. Ma-chi-wa. I told you guys a long time ago, it's 3 words, actually. Just like ka-tha-ra, spoken as 1 word. Same thing. Ma-chi-wa, spoken as 1 word. It's light language on your brother's Christos family. You have a Christos family, brother, sister, you have a Christos family. And ma-chi-wa is coming from my Christos family. It's a blessing. It's a based on, love. So it's a good positive greeting. I've noticed it being spoken as light language. It's like bilingual. I speak it bilingually with my English. You'll hear me sometimes just say it. It's always been like that for me. I just say it without thinking about it now. So it's part of my bilingual language. Kristen loves, woohoo! Puzzle Rabbit, higher dimensions. I gotta start, you guys. We got Lauren Wisdom. Good to see you. G-Light. All right. Some heavy hitters coming on in. Etheric Prisms. Beautiful name. I love that name. Good to see you, Holy One. Crossing Waves. All right. You got your incense too? There we go, man. It's our sacred space and our light bodies always cleansing and protecting. Diamond Star. Woohoo! You got Mountain Sage. Awesome. And isn't it amazing that there's weeds, simple plants that have powerful properties? Machiwa. Where I live, there's plenty of sage. I lived in Arizona, Nevada. It's a weed, man. It's just, and its power. No wonder the Native Americans were using it. And now, a lot of spiritual people use it. Celine, Star Sister, good to have you, Holy One. I really got to start, you guys. Indigo Wizard, brother. I love all of you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I'll be talking to you guys throughout the live. I just got to start. Giannis, Star Sister, blessings. Holy One, good to see you. Steve, you said it. Weeds are not weeds. Don't just, mugwort. Good one, Brandy. That's a good one. I used to use mugwort oil, essential oil on my third eye. And so every time I mention mugwort, I have to be responsible and say it's not meant to be used by pregnant women. Just saying. That's a known thing. If you're pregnant, you don't want to be working with mugwort. So, we are in a spiritual war, you guys. So this is why you're going to have a mix of empaths and some dark empaths. Just like we have light workers, well, surely you're going to have dark workers, whether they're aware of it or not. Because of this spiritual war, we have fallen angelic, malevolent extraterrestrials. Angels are aliens, some of them good, some of them negative. Aliens are angels. So the negative aliens, what we call malevolent aliens, or the intruder races, intruding on our planet, bring this narcissistic, vampiric, dark psychology here on Earth. Dark empaths, dark consciousness, manipulation. Now there's, pharmaceuticals for that. That's not the answer, by the way. You're meant to heal just like we do, going inside, doing techniques, removing distortion from our body, our emotions, our psychologies, mind, and our spirits. But it's very close to the definition of a narcissist and psychopath. And so, let me bring this up real quick, you guys. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I used to live with the narcissist. It wasn't a mate, a partner, but it didn't matter. They were in the household with me, and they were hardcore narcissists. And it's so interesting because this narcissist was always talking about the narcissist in her family. complaining about the narcissist in her family when she's black and white, hardcore, obvious narcissist. And I couldn't stand the way she treated her own boyfriend. I don't even know how he put up with it, man. But that's just it. You become a victim of a narcissist. You either know what's up or you just sit with this problem or whatever. I mean, these were people who were actually trying to help me, and then I just said, what the shit is going on? I'm not living in this. I'm not staying in this. Whether I'm going to go back to being homeless or not. I mean, that's what was happening in my life at the time. I will go back to being homeless before I keep on allowing this into my field. Like, when you stay with it, you're agreeing with it. I'm not going to agree with that. The core definition of an empath is someone with heightened sensitivity to the emotions, energies, and states of others, often feeling them as if they were their own. And let's say you didn't know that you were psychic, but you were feeling all this crazy energy or thoughts. It wasn't your own. It just becomes... But when it becomes regular, then you start realizing or maybe you will realize or don't realize that you're actually feeling what someone else is feeling. So, psychopath a dark empath may not know that it's a dark empath. A narcissist doesn't know it's a narcissist. But some are very aware of it and they use it because that's their soul imprint. That's their natural temperament. That's how they treat others. That's how they speak. That's how they think. And think about it. A person who gets tied up into that type of relationship, well, this dark empath wasn't behaving like a dark empath during the dating process, right? It's when you became more serious or started living with the person, then their real true colors started showing up. But before we talk more about the dark empaths, let's talk about what it is just to be empathic. It's beyond the normal empathy. Like I mentioned, I made a difference between the two. Empath, a type of person. Empathy, having emotion for someone or feeling it. You're having a conversation, or you're listening to someone, a friend, telling you their drama or problems. You have empathy for them. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about literally, psychically feeling their actual emotions. And you know how some people front and they won't show their emotions? That doesn't change you as an empath from feeling it. So, like I said, it's not telepathy. It's not a lie detector. But it acts like a lie detector. It acts like telepathy. Because you're getting a lot of information on someone based on someone's raw emotions. They're upset, you can feel being upset. They're angry, you can feel that anger. You see the problem? Until you get it in check, until you're in control of this ability, perception, extrasensory perception. Well, empathy is the ability to understand others' feelings. Being an empath involves direct energetic perception, not just mental or emotional recognition, like I was explaining. Types of perception, may sense emotional states, physical sensations. Whoa, what was that? And think about this. Twins are naturally empathic, are they not? They feel each other. They read each other's minds. They know what the other's feeling basically all the time. It's like a strong bondage. Bond, sorry. These could be environmental energy shifts or even collective moods, like a group energy. Like some empaths avoid social, get-togethers. Going to a concert for an empath, that could be insane. Going to the airport could be crazy to you as an empath. It's not like you can turn off telepathy, or you can turn off empathy, or you can turn off, whatever psychic input is coming in. Of course, there is ways to suppress, or you learn techniques to how to deal with it, how to manage it. But some people just don't. They're just, you can become a victim of your own ability as an empath. This is why maybe your only solution will be to be alone and isolated so you're not picking up anything. So you're at peace. From the inner order perspective, empathic ability is part of the organic innerchristos sensory. Eventually, all of us will be natural empaths. And also natural telepaths. And also natural, reading or knowing your past lives, future lives. You're just going to be plugged in and turned on as a human race, not just individuals on the planet. It's a network, of the collective human collective consciousness, linked to multidimensional connection through the soul and the avatar levels and beyond. We'll be able to feel those multidimensional collective energy, whether that's good or bad. Usually, that's a good thing. It's usually a good thing when the collective starts having these abilities, because you're only going to have a collective. The collective. That's a big sign if the collective is starting to be all psychic. That means you're coming together in unity. In the Christos, connecting to your inner Christos. Because what is the inner Christos? What is multidimensional consciousness? It is not just your consciousness. It is everywhere, everything, everyone's consciousness. Eventually, it doesn't matter if it's human. It doesn't matter if it's an animal. And we'll be talking about that in a little bit. Because you can feel the animals too. Origins of this gift, often stronger in individuals with more active higher dimensional DNA strands, which we talk about, especially in Angelic Realities. One of the 3 books that first started this all. The only published books you can find of Ashana Dean on Amazon. You look up Ashana Dean, she has 3 books. Angelic Realities, Voyagers 1, Voyagers 2. But this one does talk about how the DNA is activating, which is related to the astral 4th heart chakra. You have the base chakra, the root, the sacral chakra, then the solar plexus area right here, and then the heart. When you start getting into the heart and above, anything above it, that's when you start experiencing extrasensory perception naturally. It's not a gift. This is why so many spiritual people think they're gifted, think they're chosen ones. BS. All humans have this ability as if they went on a spiritual journey. But humans are all at different levels of that awareness. Doesn't mean you're better or worse, because we're at the end of the day, we're all part of the Creator, right? So the strengths, natural healers, meditators, and harmonizers, able to bring comfort and understanding to those around them with this ability. So while there is dark empaths, surely that could be a line of work for someone else to help others. Because you have that ability that they may not have yet, but someday can or will. The challenges are you can absorb emotional and energetic debris from others. In your own household, your own family, you get to sense their junk, their dark side, their feelings. Or maybe you don't want to feel some of those sexual feelings or whatever, right? I'm leaving the house right now. I'll be back later. It's not reading someone's mind, but it's like reading someone's mind. You may struggle with, overwhelm, burnout, or difficulty distinguishing personal feelings with external ones. That's what I meant earlier. Sometimes you don't know the difference. You don't know why you're feeling this way. What? This isn't me? Because it's not. You're psychic, Holy One. You're feeling someone in the other room, across the city. Usually it's someone you may have had encounters with or know. But you can have these, like for me, that incident in Ukraine, those were all strangers to me. One of them wasn't. He was the one that brought these other Russian people in. They were actually from Moscow, or no, St. Petersburg. A group of people, some of them were couples, guys and girls. So it didn't matter if they were strangers. I still could feel them. That's the whole thing that we're talking about. You can be at a concert and feel people's emotions. You can be at church and feeling everybody's emotions, or wherever you may be, in the mall. So they could be friends, they could be people you don't know. But the common traits that for anyone who's an empath, usually, a positive empath, high compassion, deep intuition, heightened sensory awareness, strong connection to animals, nature, and a desire to help others. This is the perfectly natural empath, you guys. And that's why they gravitate to healing, because they care, they want to listen, they want to help. That's the natural drive of a lot of empaths. They're sensitive, and they have that sensitivity with others. And they're not always recognized, by the way. Many empaths grow up feeling different because of that, because not everyone around you is psychic. Remember, we're a very small percentage, literally less than we're only like 1/10 of 1%. 1% is bad, but 1/10 of 1% of the planet, that's all we are, that are psychic. We're on planet Earth. We're in 3D. That's 3 strands. Remember, you're not psychic until you have 4 strands or more. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But most humans are only 3 strands. Billions of humans are not psychic. We're a very tiny percentage on the planet who are. This is why ordinary people think you're weirdo. This is why ignorant people in religion think you're expressing these psychic abilities. They think something's really, really wrong with you. They may want you to have an exorcist or sent to a shrink or a psychologist or being put on meds. Just like the government wants you to shut those things down, well, so do the people who live with you who don't understand that stuff, who can't relate, who think you're crazy. Because you're actually, literally, you know what the truth is? The truth is you, holy ones, are more evolved. You know all those billions of schmucks? They're not evolved. They don't have these extra sensory perceptions. They're less evolved. Literally between 2.5 maybe strands to 3 and maybe a half strands. While you have 4 or 5 or 6, they are less evolved. Billions of humans. But it is these, maybe it's not so loving to call them schmucks, but you know, all these 3D conscious people think there's something wrong with you. They call you the narcissist. I mean what's that word? It's a rude word because I've heard it before. I had this whole trolling movement attacking me on Instagram before. Well, maybe I've been transmuting that out. I mean, I transmuted that out, so I can't remember the word, but it's a rude freaking word. Like there's something wrong with you because you're experiencing these things. I'll think of the word later in the live, I'm sure. What's important is as an empath is to have, the importance of boundaries, you guys. Learning to protect and manage one's energies is essential to thriving as an empath rather than being drained by it, right? So maybe through experience, you'll know how to deal with this ability. You'll be forced to, so you don't go crazy. Because my ex that I mentioned at the beginning, that was super psychic and empathic, she has no idea. I bless her. I love all people, whether they're awakened to the Christos or not. She's not. She sees dark demonic energies. And so, right? So she has no idea how to handle it. Other people's crazy thoughts, along with her own, maybe, distortions. So that is probably someone someone who is empathic, who will talk to you about their empathic ability, but they don't know what to do with it. I mean, they don't know how to heal that dark shadow. They haven't done shadow work. They haven't done a spiritual journey. They're still in 3D. I mean, they're not 3D, they're more than 3D, but they're only staying in 3D. You see what I'm saying? They don't go beyond and talk about the guardians, talk about paranormal experiences and explanations of what's happening to them or what they are. They don't even think about it. I mean, I can look at people like that in my past and see they have these abilities, they have these gifts, but they have no clue what to do with it or what it is, really, or what you can or could do with it, like a service. Or, like we just mentioned, they don't even know how to put boundaries on this ability or the certain type of energies that will cause a problem. So there's got to be some sort of strategy if you're dealing with someone else, like other people around you's dark energies, dark thoughts, dark emotions. You don't want that, but you're stuck in the house with them, for example. You need to know strategies. You need to know how to maintain it. Have maintenance. You control it instead of it control you. Because you will see most people, it controls your lifestyle. You live your life based on it, around it, or whatever. You see what I'm saying? So there's different types of empaths, you guys, that you may relate to more than another type. Like there's an emotional empath, that's the main one. Feels and absorbs the emotions of individuals or groups. Can experience joy, but also sadness, also anxiety of others, also the anger of that which is not yours, like I mentioned earlier. There's also something called the physical empath. It feels physical sensations, like I mentioned, you feel sudden, like something in your body or a pain or something from others in your own body. Not your pain, but someone else's pain. That's a physical empath. You may suddenly feel aches, tension, fatigue, without a personal cause, because it's the cause of someone else around you. This is another type of reason to want to be isolated or separate from groups or people. Because it's not your disease or your lifestyle or sickness, but you're taking on other people's diseases and, psychosis and anger and pain. That's not fun. Oh, gee, great. Take care of your shit, please, so I can stop feeling it and experiencing it. Right? Shit. Go heal yourself and then come back so we can all be at ease. Because you're giving me disease, unease. There's something called the intuitive empath. Receives deep, often spontaneous insights about people. Wow, you get a sudden rush of a reading of them, whether you wanted it or not, right? Insights of people's situations or events without logical explanation. You're guided by a strong knowing about this circumstance, place, or, that almost kind of like goes over onto the ability called psychometry. Like any object, you can sense whoever's handled this object. You sense a history behind it of the people who have touched it. That's crazy, right? But these are real things that people can do. Just like empathy is a real thing. Some of you may be scoffing and think this is total BS. Which just recently, I had to reply to a comment like that on Instagram where someone's saying, you're total BS, your channel's BS, you're just lying to people, and you think this stuff is real when it's all BS. This was on my aliens video, and he asked, have you seen any aliens? Right? And then started saying all the BS stuff. Yes. Not only have I seen aliens and UFOs and spirits, yes, I've also experienced empathy, telepathy, clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience. Yes, they're very real. Homie, brother, I don't need you to believe. I do not need you. Those other indigos and starseeds don't need you. But you reply to my channel, I'm going to reply back from a Christic point of view. And that's exactly what I did. Because you will get people in this low vibration who are literally less evolved than you, holy ones. But we don't treat them like that. That's not Christic. Know what it is to be Christic. We just recognize it. We see it. These unevolved people with 3D consciousness. And that's their path. That's their choices. Right? This person made their free will choice to make this immature, ignorant, foolish comment. I'm going to be making Christic, comments with my free will choice. What are you doing with your free will choice, holy ones, right? We can't control what other people do. Now, what I mentioned earlier, animal empath, deeply attuned to the emotions and needs and comfort of animals. You can sense distress or happiness in pets and wildlife. And this is true. I mean, people that I know and believe, because I haven't done it myself, they have communications with animals. They can feel the animals. They're trying to nurse every little animal they find, which I think is beautiful. It's a very beautiful expression of this love from source. So some people just have it naturally flowing through them. And like I said at the beginning, empaths, generally speaking, are very sensitive people, very caring people, and they gravitate normally to healing or help healing for others, which I think is needed on earth in this spiritual war, spiritual bondage. We need healers. We need positive empaths. We need caring, kind people who have reverent respect for others. That's the kind of empathic people I want around me, not these dark empaths. I mean, you'll see their qualities. Goodbye, transmute, boundaries, right? There's the plant empath. Very interesting. Because when you start to realize this list of different empaths, you might look at people in your family or people in your life who have catered towards these type of characteristics, and whoa, my friend is an animal empath. My friend is a plant empath. I think at one time in my life, my mother was a plant empath. She was loving to so many plants in the house. Even if we lived in a small little apartment, my mom always had these vines along the walls and ceilings. She had all these pots of plants. I see her always squirting water, taking care of her plants. A plant empath, someone who loves this energy. Even if they don't understand, it's an empathic energy, consciousness. Another beautiful expression of the inner Christos. There's the claircognizant empath. Remember the three clairs: clairvoyance, see; clairsentience, feel; claircognition is knowing. Combines empathic sensitivity with clear knowing psychic ability, allowing instant understanding of situations. And so this is pretty interesting. Maybe you know some people who have this ability or sensibility or feeling or knowing. Yes, they call it claircognizant. There's the telepathic empath. Picks up thoughts or mental impressions alongside emotions. Dang, right? It's very interesting because, I've made these secret space program videos, and some of these, remember, I talk about how they recruit children. They want kids in these MyLab programs, for example. They want psychic kids. Not only are they going to choose and pick psychic, empathic kids, but they're going to boost those psychic and empathic abilities. And some of these SSP whistleblowers have come out and talked about how they were utilized as this type of empath, a telepathic empath, where they would sit along a meeting with ETs, humans and ETs. If you don't believe in that stuff, it's a real thing that I talk about. I've made videos about. Check them out. They would use these kids, literally, they were kids in the military, teenagers too, as telepathic empaths to sense. They don't know the aliens' language, but they know the aliens' feelings. Like I said earlier, you're like us, and an empath could be like a lie detector. Can be like a person who reads minds or feels the intention. It's very It's a great asset for the secret space program. Machiwa. There's a medium empath, sensitive to the emotions and impressions from non-physical beings, such as spirits or multidimensional entities. Because this sounds like the Sixth Sense with that little boy. I see dead people. The dead people were coming to him for some sort of help, some sort of healing, and you, as a this type of empath, the medium empath, you can sense their problems and help them. Someone come to you, it's your dead person or a disembodied spirit or some spirit, that may have familiarity with you or may be a stranger to you who you can help because you feel them, and they're just like a normal empath does, but it's with a spirit or a non-human being, right? There's also something called creative empath. Channels empathic perception into art, music, writing, or performance, expressing the emotions of others through creative work. Maybe they're not the ones with this beautiful skill or expression. It's this talent and expression of others that they will now, do in their own work. So that's a very interesting type of creative empath. But I sense that surely there's famous people who have been in creative empaths. Famous authors, famous scientists. One of the last groups is called a collective empath. Feels the emotional climate of large groups, communities, or even humanity as a whole, especially during major events. 9/11, there's going to be a whole bunch of collective empaths who came out and started talking about that. Do you remember? Go back and check. Because surely there was people who were sensing what everyone else was feeling. And you better believe that kings, queens, emperors, rulers are actually, using the service of a collective empath. You can imagine how that could be useful. Here's another one. What's that chick on Star Trek Generations? She's a Bajoran human hybrid, and she was sensing for the Captain Picard other energies or groups of people's energies. And you will see scenes in the TV show, in the movies, where she's feeling all these emotions and she's reacting to their emotions. That's a perfect clip you can find online of Dana. Is that her name? Dana, right? Let me look in chat, you guys. Woohoo! I'm going back to the chat, to the live group, and I already have some people helping out with donations. Inlatin, brother, woohoo! 999, you know your numbers, man. What's up? Sending love from my heart chakra to all of you. Blessings, Inlatin. Thank you, homie. Yeah, woohoo! You're so loyal and you're so regular. So happy to see you all the time, brother. And I love your symbol. That's a perfect Merkaba star, baby. What's up? Handpan Mermaid. Yes, another 999, which is coming up. My birthday. I'll be spending my birthday with you guys in Sedona. Yeah, what's up? Thank you, Handpan Mermaid. Bless you so much, sister. And because you're recently here on the channel, so glad to have you join us. I must have not gone down. Wait a second. Looks like I missed Giannis. Giannis 111. Woohoo! Star sister, bless you, Holy One. So glad to see you. So glad to see you on cam the other day. And a lot of you, I can't wait to meet you in Sedona. So this is going to be awesome. I was just giving a shout out to because she hasn't answered me. but I let her know. Gina, reach out. Reply back to my email I sent to you, or reach out to Giannis or Indigo or Celine, or anyone, because you'll know if you check the messages. So hope you're here, Gina. Kristen loves Weird Indigo and Proud Anuhazi. Yes, you said it, Kristen loves. It's almost like a badge of honor to be called weird, right? Chiwa. I will be an ugly duckling. I'll be a weirdo. I remember the word. I told you I'd remember the word. Yeah, I'm not a schizophrenic, but, when someone calls me that, hey, what's up? Because I know what a schizophrenic is. I know what a kid with ADD or ADHD is. Okay? So I know what a psychic person is. I know what an empathic person is. So your insult is actually right on target, Vato, but not from what you thinking, right? Thank you, Kristen Loves. Syrian Star Princess, yes! Woohoo! Oh, she left a message. Christos Avatar TV be dropping mad facts on the Instagram, and he doesn't put up with anyone's, shit over there either. Right? She says, but he does answer them nicely, right? That's how you have to. This is the way, the guardian way. I would say the 2022 version of myself, maybe I would react not so Christic. But just like a lot of you, believe it or not, I am growing and improving. And so there's a confirmation right there. And I even mentioned that earlier tonight. When someone is rude, I'm not going to go down to their level. Or any of you guys, think about that. When someone wants to engage with you in a conversation, if a dark empath wants to engage you, you don't go there, homie, because you're not their thought, that type of energy anymore. You're a Christic frequency. You're all about unity and Christ consciousness. So, but like she said, I don't put up with anybody's shit. I'm going to reply. I'm not going to just skip their message. I actually answer, but from a Christic point of view, and I explain whatever comment they're making, whatever BS they're saying. I can reply every single thing, and I mean every single thing a person can write. I can reply with a Christic answer. And so can all of you. It takes practice. I'm still not 100% there yet, but this is something that's within all of us. We can all improve and be examples of what we're preaching, of what we're sharing and talking about. If we're going to share Christ consciousness, let's behave like it. Let's think it. Let's speak it. And that's the same with social media. Because surely, as Syrian Star Princess has probably read some of these people's comments, you can take that in a whole different direction. Or realize this, that other people are reading my replies to people. So if they see me not acting the way I teach, I'm not real. I'm a fake teacher, like this. Some people were recently saying I'm my channel's BS, my message is BS. Not Shiva. Thank you, Syrian Star Princess, for that confirmation. Much respect, Holy One. Sister, bless you. Thank you, guys. Tonight, we need $40 more by the end of tonight. So thank you so much for my members. Thank you so much to people donating. Thank you to my moderators. Special shout out to my moderators. Stardust Goddess, Sarah Holder, Celine, divine feminine, little aliens sometimes here too. We got Starman, the boys, Starman, Indigo Wizard, Anahazi, brother, what's up, holy ones? Mr. Madism in the house. It's almost like equal, right? 4 girls, 4 guys. But 2 of them don't come very often. So there's usually 5 of 6 of us, right? Let me get a drink here, guys. So, since we talked a little bit about the empath, let's talk about these dark empaths. Or no, I want to talk about some of the signs that you are an empath. You feel emotions deeply and suddenly, because it could hit you like that, you guys. It's almost like, if someone's truly telepathic, you will get sudden conversation in your thoughts. Well, instead of words, you get sudden emotions and feelings. And, a lot of those are negative emotions, feelings, energies that you didn't invite. You probably most likely don't want, but it can come to you quickly, right? So these are some of the things that are confirmations to you that, well, yes, I guess I'm an empath. You can walk into a room and instantly pick up, on the mood, what's going on you hear our teacher Ashiana, usually at the beginning of a lecture, or she'll start saying she'll describe some of the energies she's feeling with the audience. Some of you do that in a social way, like you'll go to some concert or to some meeting or some group of people or family, and you'll pick up on the energy that's going on here. You'll know if there's a problem or you'll know if it's a pleasant mood, and you'll say, yeah, this is my energy, what's up? Sometimes, feeling emotions shift without explanation. You guys, that's a key right there. Why? Why did my emotions shift suddenly? Because you're picking up on someone else's emotions. The whole definition of an empath is you're picking up on something or someone else. Another sign that you're an empath, crowds drain you, which I already mentioned. Some of you avoid crowds for specifically this reason. It's almost like taunting to you to go to a grocery store, because you get to deal with a whole bunch of people and a bunch of 3D consciousness, and all the people that usually go shopping after work, and they're coming after work and they're in these bad moods and attitudes, and people are just rude to each other and non-loving to each other anyways. But and people's emotions and twisted thoughts, they don't share usually in public. They're keeping it all inside, all the hate, all the darkness, all the arrogance and pride and judgments. But you're empathic. They don't have to say it out loud because you're picking it up. So it's not as if these people in 3D consciousness are aware that someone can pick up their shit. Because most of those 3D people don't believe that's even possible. Wake up call, humans. It's very possible there are humans around the world who are reading your thoughts or reading and picking up your emotions, whether they want it or not. There's been times in my life where I know I'm meeting a brother or a sister who's psychic and possibly empathic. So I make sure, I'm talking about real situations in my life. I make sure that all my thoughts are very well mannered. You don't have, you're not having discussing thoughts because, dude, you respect this ability. You respect this power. I know it's real, while most people may not. So keep that in mind when you're around other psychic people, around other awakened people. You know, this happens naturally when we go to a civilization of unity. What did I say? When you go to unity and awakening on a planet, then psychic powers kick in for everybody. So everybody's going to have to start being mindful of their garbage thinking and, and feelings. Do you think a suicidal person wants anyone knowing that they're being suicidal? Or a depressed person? These are people retreating and don't want no one to know what's going on inside them. But Holy One, if you're empathic, it's not like you're trying to, be a peeping Tom on their life, or you're not trying to get personal information. It just happens. And are you one of those positive empaths or a dark empath? Because while we get to a dark empath, the dark empath is going to take that as an opportunity to feed off of you, because that's what we're going to talk about. That's exactly why they are dark empath. This is why narcissists are narcissists. I mean, that's why they do things that are narcissistic. So they get that reaction that they want, which is a loose energy reaction that they feed off of. Whether they have any idea or not of what is loose energy, or have any idea or not that they're a narcissist or a dark empath. That's what they're doing, because that's what their nature is. That's what their soul, incarnated soul is. Some of these beings can't be fixed, or because they don't want to be fixed, because this is who they are. Like a criminal. A criminal is a criminal because they like it. They want to do it. That's what they align with. Taking other people's shit, hurting other people. Criminals hurt. People get put in prison because they murder people and harm people. So there's dark empaths doing the same thing. They doing it because that's what they are. Because there's different souls incarnating. They're not all angelic humans, are they? When you got hybrids here, maybe that's what some of these dark empaths are. And do you think psychologists are coming from anywhere from multidimensional thinking? Do you think they're helping you with any type of awareness of spirits? They don't believe in spirits. They don't believe in extraterrestrials. So that's not part of their service. Their diagnosis is limited, right? Because they don't know about the spiritual war. They don't know about the spiritual bondage. Oh, I'm not supposed to bring this into me. Keep it at a distance. Another sign you're an empath. You absorb other people's energy. After talking with someone upset or stressed, you may feel heavy, fatigued, or emotionally unsettled, whether you want it to or not. So it's almost like, I've seen some of those Marvel heroes where they put their hand on somebody, and then that energy or even their abilities or powers get absorbed. It's the same thing. You're absorbing like a sponge. It's frequency. It's energy that you pick up on. You have your own Wi-Fi, your own radar. It can go, it has a, like an area of effect. It has an area of effect. That's why when you don't want to be around people and picking up their shit, you take your area of effect and go somewhere else. That's what some of you find as a solution. That's like one of the few solutions that can actually help you, is by getting the F away from people. Because it's driving you nuts. Their craziness is driving you crazy now, right? So you absorb their energy. Because remember, consciousness is energy, energy is consciousness. Everything is consciousness. You're highly intuitive. That's a sign that you're an empath. You get gut feelings or instant knowing about people and situations. often proven correct later. And you guys, as I go through this list and these different examples, please write it in the comments. Remember, your feedback is read by other people that helps other people. And so you're part of this group energy. You're part of this group awakening. And that's what we're doing. We're not talking about empaths and dark empaths from a psychology point of view or a mental illness point of view. We're talking about it from a spiritual point of view. You're sensitive to physical sensations. This is so interesting because you might get these unexplainably, but you may now see that might be how you're getting some of these things, such as developing headaches, aches in general, or other symptoms around someone experiencing them themselves. Isn't that a trip? Your headache is giving me a headache. Your flu symptoms are now part of my symptoms. What the shit, right? It's not funny when you're experiencing it, but when you think about it, it's kind of, you see how local it can be. Or you see how local you can become based on other people's situations and issues, right? You attract people who offload their problems. Strangers and acquaintances often share personal struggles with you, even without knowing you well. You remember that whole point of, the characteristics of an empath. They're very sensitive and caring to other people. They're the type of person that like to listen to, they're willing to listen because they care. So this is why you become someone that people offload. Like, so maybe sometimes you want to help others and listen to others. And maybe those other types of people you don't want, who are pushing themselves on you, offloading their problems and dramas and you start literally picking up on these things. So that could be a blessing or a curse, right? You need alone time to recharge, which we talk about, which is, solitude, nature, or quiet environments. These are the things that help you reset your energy. And that's something that not just empaths need. Anyone needs to literally get outside of the grid. Get out of the collective consciousness for a bit and get into isolation, into the nature with the plants and animals. Okay, so you're having all this empathic sewage garbage with humans. Well, why not take it to nature and start, like we said earlier, the animal implants or animal empathy, and start experiencing plant empathy. It won't be so bad as the 3D consciousness of humans in the city. Get out of the grid is a solution for many people, not just empaths. And I encourage you guys to do that. That's one of the reasons why I'm going to Sedona. You guys, I cannot think of the last vacation I went on. Let me think. Because Sedona trip is like a vacation. It is a vacation. I don't consider going to those Starseed events a vacation. That's not a vacation. That's work for me. Probably when I went to Peru. That was my last vacation, which was several years ago. Wow. You see what I'm saying? I need a vacation. And when I was homeless, that doesn't count as a vacation. But I was out in nature. I was outside of the grid. I experienced paranormal, supernatural things. You guys, in Nevada, I've hardly seen any orbs in Nevada. But when I was in nature, it was a whole different story. I saw plenty of orbs out there. Whatever your beliefs are about orbs, some people have these twisted ideas that they're dark beings or dead people or some shit. No, that's not what I believe, because you can see colors in these orbs. These orbs have different sizes. I've seen orbs having sex, or they're all literally connected and flying together. What is that? I've seen several pairs of connected, and I've seen orgies of orbs, because there was 1, 2, 3, I counted them. There was like 5 or 6 orbs literally connected, and they moved as a group. And you know they don't usually do that. They're just flying and flying. But when I was in nature, in seclusion, away from humans in the city grid, that's when I experienced all kinds of crazy energies, which is a good thing, not a bad thing. Another side of life. So some of you would want to go out into natures because of the problems that can come along with being an empath. You need time to recharge. Another sign of being an empath is you have a strong connection to animals and nature, but we already talked about that. Art, music, and beauty. You can pick up on subtle cues when someone doesn't work, someone's words don't match their energy. Remember what I said about being a lie detector? You know when someone's BSing you. Another sign that you're an empath is that you can often mirror people's feelings, without meaning to. Your emotional state shifts to match those around you. It's kind of like, if you think about it, it's kind of like your kids who are acting like other kids to be cool, or they begin to, like, some younger kids in my family became the ones who were bullied. They started following other people, for example, or I think this is more like those people who don't associate this as being something they're aware of. They're not aware they're empathic, so they're sensing, especially people you may live with. You may be picking up on their energies. You start being entrained into their way of life, into their emotional states. You start, like it says, like picking up and like a feedback loop. You get this feedback loop, other people's emotions. Now I'm doing those emotions. So like a mirror effect. Another sign is you're deeply compassionate. I mean, many people can be deeply compassionate, but this is one of those signs out of many signs that you could be an empath. You feel a strong desire to help, heal, and comfort others, even at personal cost. And not all people want to do that. I mean, not all spiritually awakened people want to do that. But more than likely, empathic people are naturally that way. I mean, it doesn't mean that person's selfish if they don't want to help other people or don't want to sit down and deal with other people. I mean, I love all people, but I don't want to sit down with people's problems. As a matter of fact, I used to offer a one-on-one service, but I didn't like it after a while. I don't like this actually. I don't want to hear other people's problems. You guys, that's just the way I am. But other people do. That's their calling. That's their service. It's not my calling. My calling is to teach ascension and spiritual awakening, not hear everyone's dark, deepest secrets. Because some people feel compelled to write me an email about their horrible history. I'm not that guy. There's other people who are gifted in this, who are blessed in this. So definitely find someone like you can unload on. But I'm not one to unload on. Just saying. I mean, I will be respectful for whatever you're going through, but I'm not going to sit in that situation. I'm not taking that on. Just saying. And another sign that you're an empath, you're sensitive to environmental changes. Weather, seasons, and planetary events can noticeably affect your mood or energy. And I think there's some 3D people out there who think that's impossible. You guys, it's what I say earlier. It's all consciousness. It's all energy. The weather is energy. The seasons are energy. It's conscious. It's alive. Whether it's aware, just like most humans are not aware. They're conscious and alive, but they're not aware of spiritual energies. They don't even believe in them, even though they have them. Same thing with these type of empaths who can feel those environmental changes. Any of those signs that I mentioned tonight, those are things that you're a sign that you're an empath. And since I did talk about some of those things, let's do a poll. Start a poll. Let your viewers weigh in. I'm gonna let you guys, contribute to this. Ask a question. Do you, brothers and sisters, any of you, after you learn some of what an empath is and some of the signs, do you think you are one? And maybe you already know this answer, right? You already know this. You already know what an empath is because you're dealing with it regularly, right? Do you believe you are an empath? Yes or no? I'm not quite sure. I'll put that answer. I am not quite sure because maybe you're thinking maybe something else. So I put excuse me, as a possible answer. I am not quite sure. And I'll put yet. Not quite sure yet. Start poll. And you can put your answers in chat. That becomes part of the collective energy that people are, watching after the replay. So I'm not an empath 24/7 like some of you are, but I've definitely experienced empathy. And maybe some of you too have also experienced isolated experiences of empaths, and you can answer yes. So anytime you've experienced that, you guys, that's a psychic ability. That's a sign that you are a starseed, because remember, humans are not. You know what is a psychic ability? Anything above the current embodied form. Because people talk about the astral, that is not Earth. That is not 3D energy. Earth is first, second, and third dimensional energy. Earth is not 4D. Tara is 4D. Another universe, another dimension, another frequency. So, if you're psychic, if you're empathy, more than likely you're one of these starseeds from 4th, 5th, or 6th dimension. An indigo child. Some hybrid being visiting Earth for service. You see, we're not talking about this topic from a psychological point of view, but from a spiritual point of view and what it really is. It's a psychic ability, baby. You saw all those examples of being a psychic, an empath? Those are psychic ESP perceptions. So, and that's another thing. Let's say you're an empath and you know it and you know what it is, and you're helping someone who's 3D, who doesn't believe in that stuff or doesn't know what it is. It's not as if you have to tell them, I can read your emotions and feelings and I know exactly what you're feeling right now. You don't need to scare people or tell people that. You can keep it to yourself. Or maybe you're doing it publicly as a service. Especially if you're one of those claircognizant empaths or telepathic empaths like they use in SSP. You can use a service with your ability. Did you ever think of that? Because it's an opportunity to actually use this starseed ability, indigo child ability, this healing ability. Maybe it is a gift of service. Maybe it's what you're supposed to do. Figure out what the hell it is and then do it as a benefit to people and for yourself. Think about it. Well, some of you are probably complaining about it. You actually have a cool ability. Knowing when someone's BSing and lying or deceiving, like a dark empath or narcissist, you got confirmation, baby. You're feeling it on another level. It's actually could be a blessing in many circumstances. And if you think about it, you know, those ghost hunter shows and detective shows where they hire a psychic, they hire an empath to go into these places and locations to feel something, to pick up on something. That's a service that you as an indigo child, starseed, has and can do. And it's a good thing. Of course, there's dark empaths, what we're talking about next. Well, they're going to use it as a negative thing. You know, everything that can be a blessing and a gift can be taken by someone else and twisted and manipulated and weaponized. My Chihuahua Holy Ones, 90s, OMG. That's one of the highest confirmations right here on this channel. 96%. No way. Yes way. 96% of you have either felt empathy once or twice or a few times, or are literally living it daily. Wow, you guys. But you know what this is also? It's also a confirmation that yes, we are awakening. You're meant to awaken all of these psychic abilities, not just empathy. We're literally, eventually, you'll be able to do supernatural things like teleport. You know, you got a Merkaba, you can go to other dimensions of reality, you can leave your body and look at your body laying down, your physical 3D body laying down. You can leave your body, travel across the planet, and go visit someone. See, these things are happening in those awakening. Those starseeds, indigos, and some humans are turning on their 4-strand. So some humans can do it. Regular 3D humans are becoming 4D humans. But you're not having a human become a 5D human. You see, that's a starseed if you got 5 strands. Or 6 strands. So you could say 4 strands could be either or. But I would say, from my perspective, that it's a little bit of a 4th strand opening in a human awakening. But an indigo has it already, or starseed has it before they even came to Earth. They already have those strands. So, you know, there is a difference between Earth seed and starseed. Earth seeds are the lower conscious identities that are being created on Earth on purpose. They purposely are developing 2-strand to 3-strand. Eventually, you'll go to the 4th strand, and then the 5th strand, and then the 6th strand. This is progressive. But starseeds and indigos are coming with it already. And I even heard our teacher, Ashana, herself talk about how it happens in the womb. If it happens in the womb, you know, as a fetus, you can still be awake and alive and aware, baby. But as soon as you come out in the 3D world, some of that is shut off. The 3D consciousness blocks it from you. Your mom, your parents' consciousness, and the way they brought you up, the way the scholastic system pushed that shit out of you. You know, how many times have you heard your parents, stop imagining. That's not real. Mommy, daddy, maybe it's not real for you. It's very, very real for me. What's up, homies? Yeah. Whoa. So, Hand-Pan Mermaid. Yes, a second time. Thank you, Holy One. Much respect to you and your support. Blessings. Thank you so much, Hampan. And she left another message. I feel people and animals and artist empath, very sensitive. That is so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I didn't think about saying that. Yeah, you guys could have different types of empathy. I think that's amazing ability, Handpan. Bless you and your awakening. And she also wrote, frequencies affect my ESP Wi-Fi towers. Yeah, that's how I worded it. Lights in a room too noisy, and change my light bulbs. No LEDs lights for me. Whoa. That makes me think maybe LED lights are a conspiracy. Some type of artificial, frequency in there. I don't know. I just saw your message and that made me think of that. Maybe it's total, it has no merit, but this made me think. It's the same thing with fluorescent lighting. It's not natural lighting that has a positive effect, right? Yeah, this is a little bit of a popular topic. Star Child 369, much love and blessings, brother. Been a while. I am also a major empath. Been since a very young age. Wow, Star Child, bless you, brother. Thank you for sharing. I can imagine what that's like. I can imagine it could be a blessing or a curse as a kid, because maybe your parents have no idea what the F is going on. And it's not as if as a kid, you don't have the logic that, oh, doesn't everybody have this? I've talked about that before. Many kids are psychic, but they don't know it's a psychic ability. They don't know they have more than 5 senses. That it's just happening normal for them. They haven't learned enough knowledge and information to know, no, this is not normal because other people are, because most people are not experiencing psychic abilities. And I think that's the whole thing. Why are these diabolical, wicked, evil beings choosing children? Because they're psychic, because they have those connections, until society pushes it out of them. Like I said, your parents will push it out of you, your parents will push you out of you, and those who can't deal with it, those parents who can't deal with your indigo craziness or empathy, they will make sure you get put on some depression drugs or Ritalin or something that suppresses it. You guys, this is the conspiracy against indigo children and starseeds. That the beings in power are very aware. So they'll have LED lights, they'll have fluorescent lights. People work 9 hours a day under those lighting conditions. Not to mention these people and beings in power, right? They're also going to poison your air, chemtrails. They're going to poison your water, your food, your seeds for food. It's a freaking front attack. They're going to attack you many ways. So poisoning your indigo children is just one of them. Putting all your kids on giving them these. What do you think these are? What do you think is in them? You guys, as an indigo, as a starseed, as you awaken, that stuff that is so wicked happening to children and happening to humans on the earth, it just hurts. It's very sad. Especially when you can't help others because they're going to go get it gleefully. Oh, it's free! It's going to help me protect myself. Yeah! Give me another one. So, yeah. So that's why I asked Star Child, was it a blessing or a curse? What was your family? Was it supportive or not? Or were they totally against it? Right? Because this is where religion creeps in too. I don't want to go in that direction, but you know what I mean. Religion is going to push that out of you too. And religion is in billions of humans' lives. Paul, hi beautiful souls, love to you all from Melbourne, Australia. What's up, Paul? On Down Under. Much respect, Paul, in Australia. Let me scroll for any more questions. I'm looking for highlighted comments, like Star Child was. Another Star Child comment. Much love and blessings, brother. Oh yeah, I read that one already. A lot of people 11. Did you guys see 3 ones, 4 ones? And a 99. Sarah Holder saw a 99. Thank you. I claim that too. Oh, it was Lauren Wisdom that saw 111. G-Light. Christos Avatar TV. I would help all those whom were more open-minded than others. That's very good. That's a good idea. Because some people are very close-minded, right? Some people will freak out from your abilities, right? But she says open-minded because, and sort of understood about the gift. And I would help them out. Good strategy, sister. Seriously. Because some people are going to take that in a different way. We know about society and how society can be. Daphne B. Star Sister. As always, resonate and remember these experiences too. And she gave a Christos Avatar gifted membership. You guys, whoever received that, that's your sponsor. Thank you, Daphne. Woohoo! Yeah! She's been a member for 28 months. Over 2 years supporting this channel. Thank you, Daphne. Blessings to you. Hugs. Thank you guys. We're $11 more, you guys. It's like this is how I survive. I know how much I need for the month. So $11 more, you guys. Thank you so much for supporting this work. We're not done yet. Even though it's getting close. Let's go into the dark empath stuff. Whoa. Okay, because some people want to know some of the signs of the person that they're considering or dealing with. Maybe they're a dark empath, and these are some of the signs of a dark empath. So we talked about the empaths. Let's talk about the dark ones. They read emotions, but use them for leverage. You see what I mean? They have the same abilities, but they have a twisted mind, distorted thinking, and they're going to use it for service to self. They're going to use it because they need your energy. They quickly sense how you feel, then subtly guide conversations or situations to their advantage. Okay, because these dark empaths and narcissists, they become experts at getting you to like them in the beginning. That's how they're successful. They have to play the good guy at first. They have to pretend that they care at first. Get your trust. Get you to believe. And if you become one of those people that are regular believers and accept them regularly, you're a regular energy supply. They have manipulative charm, like I just described. They can be warm and personal, like when it serves them, their purpose, but the warmth feels conditional. You might even pick up on that, you guys, as the one on the other end, right? You start to pick up that there's a condition to this charm that's manipulating you. And that's how shadow works, through manipulation, distraction, They're control. I mean, they seek control and domination. That's what they are. They weaponize your vulnerability. This is why they're going to want to ask you a bunch of questions and find out how you're vulnerable, right? They encourage you to share your feelings or secrets, then use that information against you later. Raise your hand if that's happened. Write it in the comments because, a lot of you, that is one of the worst betrayals, especially if it was under some romantic relation. Some of the most deepest secrets you were talking to these people. That can be so hurtful. You will be in shock. I mean, you may feel shock because you remember that charm. You remember they were listening. They were listening because they were collecting data. They needed that information about you so they can use it later for their own purposes. And don't feel ashamed if you've dealt with that, you guys. Remember, your testimony is helping somebody else. It helps someone else be informative. So please share, because I shared my own situation. I briefly mentioned it, but one of the other narcissists in my life was when I was homeless again. Two people when I was homeless, they were both narcissists. The first one is this one. They invited me to Hawaii. Of course I'm going to want to go to Hawaii. And I'm homeless. I don't have much resources. So when I get stuck on an island with this person, and I don't know nobody else, what the F am I going to do? Perfect for them. This person was also a narcissist. But the one that I had lived with later, they were like much worse than this person. And don't think only guys are narcissists. These were both women, guys. Men and women can both be narcissists. Or dark empaths. The other one was definitely an empath and psychic and all that. I don't know if this woman in Hawaii was. I'm sure she was. Because a lot of spiritual talk was going on and she had a lot of spiritual friends. So yeah, she was in dark empath. Pretending to want to help, and maybe there was a part of them that really did want to help, but then it just turned into something twisted. I would love to have stayed and lived in Hawaii, but it only took 30 days before I left that beautiful paradise. Because quite frankly, it's easy to live and survive in Hawaii if you're homeless. You know why? Because there's fruits growing everywhere. Wild mangoes, wild bananas, and peaches. It was freaking abundant. So if you're homeless, I know it's expensive to get there, but once you get to Hawaii, man, you're covered, man. I'm not saying, hey, a whole bunch of people homeless people go to Hawaii, but your problem is solved, right? I mean, the climate is 80 degrees all the time. All the time. It was perfect weather, the most gorgeous state in America, in my opinion. Well, Alaska is probably beautiful, but dude, that's hardcore. Alaska's hardcore. Hawaii's not. It's temperate. But there's always been something inside myself. I don't want to be stuck on an island anyways. What about there's some hurricane? What if there's some volcano? Because I saw plenty of disasters I saw plenty of the past volcanic, she took me to a territory that was all black. No trees, no plants, no nothing. Holy cow. Or what about a tsunami? What the F are you going to do? Stuck on an island. Unless you're rich and can get to your helicopter in time and get off the island, but nope. Anyways, so don't be shy in this group. You can write it in chat if you've dealt with a narcissist. I told you my story. I'm sure some of you have your own. And maybe you're still going through it. Maybe you're stuck with the people in your own household or in situations where you can't immediately get away from these people. But that's the goal, to eventually put boundaries on these kind of dark empaths in your life as we continue to read about them. After they weaponize vulnerability, they mirror your emotions for control. They may reflect your mood or values, like play acting. You're being happy and joyous. They'll pretend to be happy and joyous. Look, we're like each other. Now you can trust me. You better believe dark empaths are good actors. I mean, those people who are sincere and loving, they can't even fathom play acting and pretending to be good and kind and loving. And so when it happens to them, this form of betrayal, it first is shock. It doesn't register. It doesn't make sense. What? You're like baffled. You're a decent person. It's hard for a decent, loving, Christic person to understand how some people can talk to you and treat you and, disrespect you. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't click because that's not our essence. We don't think those things. We don't treat others in those ways. And so when it happens to you, you feel railroaded. You feel betrayed. They mix kindness with cruelty. Raise your hand if you experienced that. Write it in the comments. Their caring moments are interspersed with criticism, guilt-tripping, or passive-aggressive remarks. You see, these individuals, got some freaking issues. They're freaking cruel. It's almost like you see when I start talking about hybrid alien humans that are not acting like humans. They get a joy out of seeing you upset, seeing you hurt, seeing your shock on your face after they reveal they're real. They took that mask off, maybe, or they keep it on. It's all about tricking you, fooling you. They get some humor and joy and some feedback energy from that. They're playing you and enjoying it. So, they're playing with your vulnerabilities. They're playing with your emotions. Speaking of which, they're skilled at emotional gaslighting. They make you doubt your perceptions or feelings, even when you're certain of them. Right? They'll make, did you hear what I said? They're skilled at emotional gaslighting. Now you think you're the cause. Maybe I am the one who created this problem. It's psychotic. It's insane. These type of individuals. When you start to realize this is a narcissist, this is a dark empath, run away. Don't give them another chance to gratify them in their psychosis. They certainly don't deserve that energy, your energy. I mean, you don't deserve that. They maintain emotional detachment. While they appear engaged, that's the whole point, appear, there's a calculated distance. They rarely show genuine vulnerability, because if they didn't, they're not very good dark empaths. They know how to gauge. They will, even if they start to feel some legitimate feeling of caring, no, that doesn't serve my true agenda, intention. So they're very calculated. They know when to not go past this invisible line of being someone who actually cares, right? I wouldn't dare put myself in that situation. I can't allow myself to actually care or love this person, right? It's like, is this guy reptilian or girl, right? They're cold-blooded reptilians. They can't be warm and passionate. They have to be either faking it or not, making sure they don't actually go that far. It's not funny, you guys, but when you see these type of people, when you eventually understand and can know these people, you know, you want the sick joke out of your life real quick. They exploit group dynamics. You taking one of these dark empaths with you to a party or something? In social settings, they subtly influence others against a target, whoever that lucky person may be, you know, without appearing overtly aggressive. I mean, that is sick. Getting a bunch of people against you now. They use empathy as a mask. The ability to read people's, you know, hides, self-serving. Well, actually, their ability to read people hides self-serving motives, giving the illusion of trustworthiness. Because that they always have some type of motive. They have some type of I mean, I think that's one of the first things they do in a relationship, is they're trying to garner that trust in you. You know, that is their persona. It's just a persona. It's just a mask. It's just an ego. Not the real character, but the one that they present. It's their front. You know, what they want you to think, who they think they are. They might even plan it all out. Have you seen that movie, American Psycho? Or some of those other movies where the person's a hardcore dark empath or narcissist, and you know, the whole movie's about them in that way. I forgot those characters' names. Starts with the letter D, I think. I mean, they don't all have to be murderers, of course. I'm just saying, you'll see this in movies where they get off on it. They get off on just playing with people, manipulating people. Like, literally, they receive something from it. This is why you'll see that evil smile, smirk, or look in their eyes. You know, that's not a human soul. They don't have the human spirit or mind or heart. You can feel that reptilian cold heart, right? Cold-heartedness. They trigger guilt or obligation. You've ever experienced that with someone? They make you feel indebted for their help or understanding. You know, using it as a leverage. You got to do this for me because I did this for you. You do something because you care about someone, not because you're expecting something back. But dark empaths expect something back, and you better believe they're going to remind you of it. Right? You're in debt. Most people don't want to be in debt to someone else, but they're going to call out something so to make you feel, oh, well, gee, I guess I better do it because she's right. No, they're not right, okay? This is part of their technique. Guilt or obligation. They thrive in control. Even in seemingly caring, it seems like a caring interaction. They maintain the upper hand, in decision-making or in influence. You could say they're the one calling the shots because they want to be the one in control. And maybe they don't want it to be obvious. Maybe it'll be tricky. They'll be tricky and sneaky and making it so it doesn't seem so out in the open, but you better believe they want control. They thrive off of control. They're controlling beings. This is how manipulation happens. So, that's your red flag right there. If they're ones that thrive on control in the friendship, in the relationship, which should be equality, not inequality. They're the ones making all the choices and making all the decisions and telling you what the relationship should go or whatever. They rarely apologize sincerely. Like, the difference between an actual apology, because you feel that, but you also feel an insincere apology. They rarely will apologize sincerely. Any apology often shifts blame back onto you or contains a justification for their behavior. It was your fault that I acted this way. Always shifting it to you. You see all the things that they're capable of and the things that they historically do, but those things, they're going to try to make it look like it's your fault. Write it in the comments if you're dealing with if you've dealt with that type of situation. Because you guys, you want to, just like we want to know what fallen angels are, we're not love, light, and clueless, we're love, light, and form. We talk about the dark side. It's the same thing with here. You want to know what these people are like, what their whole game is, what their whole techniques are. These are some of the things that you will see as signs that you're dealing with a dark empath. Now, what are you going to do about it? Let's compare apples to oranges, right? Empaths to dark empaths. Let me check on chat here. Anahazi, dude! Woohoo! We did it just now as I looked at, what is that, synchrony? We did it, yeah! What's up? Thank you for meeting that. Thank you so much, Anahazi, dude. What's up, homie? Love that 999s. My birthday is 9/9. What's up? Thank you, Holy One. Thank you, Anahazi, dude. Love your username, by the way. Yeah. What's up, Laren? Anahazis. Chafel Jennifer. Yeah. Steve, you said it. Never give unconditionally. Wait a second. Never give? So you're saying put conditions when you give. That's what your comment is, right? Sunrise Thinker 64. Dark empaths can drain your energy. Master manipulators. Mine throughout one shoe from every set of shoes. Mine liked to offer me things with attachments. That's what we covered, right? I'll do this for you, but you need to do this for me. It's kind of like what you're saying, right? Attachment. Their karma is coming. You said it, Giannis. And for those of you who don't think karma is a real thing, it's physics. 111. There's 111 people. Can you guys see that? Someone put that in chat, please, so we can all claim that. 111. Thank you for that synchrony. Yeah, karma. Karma is a real thing, you guys. It's physics. It's quantum science physics. Excuse me. It's literally based on, well, it's advanced concepts to explain it, because we talk about reincarnation, multidimensional simultaneous incarnation, where each one of your incarnations, thoughts, experiences, memories, all of your incarnations, let's say on Density Universe 1, all of those incarnations, all of them, not just your shit, all of your incarnations are going into your crystal body. It is your crystal body that projects your holographic experience here. So you're collectively doing it. All of your crap thoughts, if you have them, and all of your other selves' crap thoughts, they're all going into your crystal body, also called a morphogenetic field, and that projects your current life for you and all your other simultaneously selves. So it would be nice to have a group meeting with your 12 selves. Right? Straight up. It's very real. It's physics. It's happening because of what you're all doing in your personal family. So when she said karma is coming, it is. They're going to experience, that frequency themselves. Maybe not this life, but it will happen. Or it's more accurate to say it is happening in one of the other incarnations. Machiwa. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. It's okay. No reason to be sorry, Liren Moon. Good to have you, Liren Moon. Familia. Love you too, Star. Holy One. Crocodile tears, says Mimi. They are scared of Steve, though. Narcissist? Yeah, because you probably catch on to their crap, right? A lot of you guys know what's up, because I'm sitting here reading your comments. A lot of you have experienced some of these people. Yeah, there's all Fatima's talking about her experiences. A lot of people, that's what they end up. One of them ends up trying to manipulate the other one, right? So, an empath and a dark empath. An empath uses emotional awareness to heal, support, and uplift others. A dark empath uses emotional awareness to manipulate, control, or exploit others. You see, there's a complete opposite experience there. An empath feels others' emotions with genuine compassion. A dark empath feels emotions with strategic calculation. Man, when you start to see these, they're ugly, disgusting energies you don't want in your life. The empath intends to create trust and safety. You probably already know what the dark empath is going to do, right? The dark empath intends to gain influence or leverage. You're just being used, homie. The empath shares their vulnerability openly. The dark empath makes their true feelings, they mask their true feelings to maintain control. Okay? One's open, the other's hiding in shadow. Because that's how darkness lives. It's operating in secrecy to maintain control. This is how Illuminati work. This is how fallen angels and demons work. The empath builds authentic, balanced relationships. The dark empath builds imbalanced, power-focused relationships. And if you're in that relationship on the other side, you can feel it. You feel it hardcore. Leave. Holy One, leave. The empath encourages personal growth in others. The dark empath encourages dependence on them. They want you dependent so they can keep on using you. And I'm sure you can feel that by now if you're in that situation. And here's a big one. The empath respects boundaries. The dark empath tests, pushes, and ignores your boundaries. I mean, that's one of the ways they play with you. Because they have those twisted type of thinking, right? The empath practices emotional honesty. The dark empath masters emotional gaslighting. Okay, that's one of the things we talked about. The empath energy exchange leaves you feeling refreshed. For the dark empath, energy exchange leaves you feeling drained or unsettled. Like you're going to feel like you've been vampired. You're going to feel like something's taken your energy. Especially, you're in this freaking argument with this freaking dark empath. By the time you get done arguing and yelling and all this shit, OMG, you feel totally drained. Because it is truly a vampiric exchange going on. Anyone who's in an argument, spelling, profanities, it's an exchange, magical, sorceress, vampiric push and pulling going on. Just realize that when you start getting all worked up and arguing with someone, because that's an exchange going on. Whoever's winning, it doesn't matter. It's still some exchange. And so you can be left either refreshed or drained. The empath is motivated by service and care. But the dark empath is motivated by self-interest, because that's exactly the type of person they are. But remember, at the beginning of the relationship, they were sweet, or appeared to be. They were kind, appeared to be. They were pretended they cared or are even interested. Remember, they're asking you, they're getting a bunch of information to find out your vulnerabilities, and they'll play act to those vulnerabilities and use them later for their own self-interest. I don't want any of these people in my freaking space. Goodbye. See you later. The empath apologizes sincerely when wrong. The dark empath rarely apologizes sincerely and shifts the blame to you. Two totally different types of consciousness. And finally, the empath uses empathy as an open connection. But the dark empath uses empathy as a mask for ulterior motives. I mean, it's a dressed up demon. Really. I mean, it's someone who's very sick in their head. But they learned to survive. They learned how to play act and trick people and fool people and pull in their energy, grab their energy, take them in. They could care less if you're crying, if you're upset. It's all about their psychotic intentions, man. Machiwa, Holy Ones. Hopefully tonight you learned something about this type of consciousness, and this is something that you want to transmute in your life, for sure. And I know some people, maybe you're financially dependent on this partner, this dark empathic partner, but that's where life decisions come in play. When I became homeless, didn't mean my income didn't stop. I still had an income, whether it was small or whatever. When you're homeless, you no longer have bills like that normally. Like you're no longer having to pay for rent. So now that rent goes into more income. You know, I mean, now you can use that money for something else, because usually when you become homeless, damn, you're losing all your furniture, you're losing all your belongings, all your expensive stuff. It's all going bye-bye. And then you end up in a car, and you end up, or some people don't even have a car. They're just homeless on the streets. I was homeless in a car and going and boondocking. But I chose that for a while instead of being in the company of a narcissist. Even if it was a shelter over my head, it was more miserable. I mean, it was less miserable to be out in the winter, in the summer, in the desert than it was to be hanging around a freaking person. Man, I remember this person trying to make me, you know, you're a psychic kid or indigo or whatever. You feel what they're doing to you, man. So I ran back to being homeless. Goodbye, see you later. You ain't no friend. They called you a friend. They called me a friend. They pretended they cared. They didn't care. OMG, but the way this person treated their partner was disgusting. And that, I felt worse over that, over them making me, trying to feed off of me. See ya! Goodbye! You have to come to that point, you guys. Even if, like I just mentioned, even if you're relying on them, you will have less bills. I'm not saying jump into homelessness. I'm just saying, if you got no other choice, you can boondock in your car. You will have more self-respect. You will have more happiness. Remember that benefit of being outside the grid. I didn't have cats and stuff. I mean, I didn't have children either, but maybe you guys have that. But, you know, there is solutions. When you're actually put in that decision-making process, you will find a solution before you keep on being influenced by this freaking dark empath. And your children, by the way, if they're involved. You got to be responsible for your own. And it is a spiritual thing. You're responsible for your own spiritual circumstances. And responsible for your minor children. So, that's extreme. But when it comes to discovering or just realizing or just simply getting tired of being with this type of person, you will be able to leave them. You know, I can imagine if this person, such a person, is your boss. You get to deal with their crap all the time. Change your job. You know, some people just can't do certain things that affect their income, but I made the choice. I would rather be in that scenario. And then, to be completely honest, I was perfectly fine in nature. I mean, homeless. I was, you know, it's not always comfortable. I slept on the ground. I was cold sometimes. I was very, very hot sometimes. So it wasn't comfortable, but there was so many blessings out there, man. It's much better than being vampired, making you feel guilty, making you feel bad, shocking you and tricking you and fooling you and embarrassing you. And nope. You'll come to that point. Transmute. I'm willing to do this before I spend another moment with you. And good for you who can do that. Blessings to all of you. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Machiwa. And I'm not going to be smoking for a while. So if you guys are going to be getting lit, much respect to you. I'm quitting for a while. I don't know, but I don't mean long time. I mean, probably in Sedona I will, but I want to stop doing this for a while. Because it just gives me lymphatic inflammation. Lymphatic inflammation, even on my arm. I use my wand on my arm. That's why it's like that. But thank goodness for Starman. He's one of my moderators. Because this thing, I don't know if it saved my life, but it saved a lot of misery. Because this helps with relief. And this is one of the ways I earn income, you guys. If you have problems, sicknesses, diseases, aches, pains, because there's certain diseases this helps. It's called the Terahertz Wand. And Celine has used it. Starman used it for his mother. It helped her. It helped him. It helped me. No joke. I think there's a couple other people here that have also used them. If you get them, please buy it from me. This is one of those small ways, because I don't sell them very often because they're $400. They're $420 now. They keep raising the price. It was originally $360. Then it was $380. Then it was $400. Now it's $420. But it's worth $420 because I've been suffering with smoking weed and having inflammation from it for 2+ years. So this was a huge blessing besides quitting smoking. I also take ginger and turmeric for that same inflammation. And I also take, what's it called? Dandelion herb, but also Cleaver's herb. I put those herbs together in a tea every day. I have 2 cups of that every day. And I have a trampoline when it gets really bad. So now I have marks on my body from using the wand, but I needed to use the wand to make it go away. But that's just something I'm sharing because that's what I'm going through. I have this freaking... You see this? This is all over my chest. I don't want to be showing my chest when it's all over my chest. So I'm not going swimming anytime soon. But anyways, you guys, we all have our challenges. We're all dealing with things, and it's not easy down here on planet Earth. But sometimes when you suffer, even if it's with a narcissist or a dark empath, sometimes when you suffer, it is those experiences that help you become a better version of yourself. So I am suffering sometimes, but it's making me become more woke, or more making better decisions, letting go of other things that don't serve me. And so eventually, like being with a dark empath or whatever, you just get sick and tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm willing to make changes. So I hope some of you, if you're stuck with someone like that, I hope you make the change. You can make the change. Everything is based on consciousness, including your own consciousness. Whatever problems you're going through, each of us are going through, it's because of our thoughts. You're suffering because of your own thoughts. Physically, emotionally, psychologically, mentally, and spiritually. We will suffer because of our own thoughts. We can't blame someone else. You can't even blame your parents, even though you lived with them for 18 years, maybe. We can't blame anything on anyone, you guys. Either karma, thoughts, from the collective family, or our own thoughts, whatever. It is our soul thoughts. It is our thoughts that have brought us to a dark empath or have brought us to suffering in our body or diseases. Now it's about waking up out of that and doing something about it and being committed to it. I'm tired of distortion in my life, tired of distortion in my body, or distortion in my emotions, or distortion in my thinking, or distortions in my spirituality? I mean, that's a question that we all tell ourselves. You want to be tired and sick and tired of any distortion. You want to start thinking about that. Start thinking about what would life be without any of these known distortions I have. I want to remove every single distortion in my life. Remove all the physical distortions. Learn about healing. If you got some disease, virus, or cancer, learn about healing. Become a master of healing. Which leads, if you have physical problems, it all leads to thoughts again. Most diseases and cancers are coming from what we put in our body. What we put in our body. What we put in our body is what's causing our diseases and cancers. Oh, it's genetic. Well, shit, man. Anything related to the body, the biology, is coming from the Cathara grid. You can heal it. Doesn't matter if it's genetic. You can heal it. It's about consciousness. I kept repeating that. Every issue can be resolved from consciousness. And when you realize it's all consciousness, then you use consciousness to fix the other consciousness problems. That's what Cathara is about, baby. We're learning, but we used to use scalar technologies. Light energy structures are scalar. Sound energy structures are scalar. When you visualize a 6-pointed star, it's scalar. We're using light, sound, symbols to heal our Cathara grid. You don't know what that is? Then learn the teachings and find out. See? Every distortion, karmic, genetic, or not, or what? Every distortion, you can use these teachings to reclaim your divine blueprint that doesn't have distortions. This is why this is based on Christ consciousness, which is what? 12th dimensional level of energy, spirit, consciousness. Bring in 12D, fixes your your Cathara grid, your divine blueprint, and fixes this shit down here. So if you're suffering, let's fix that, let's heal that, and go back to the actual technologies to help you resolve that. Thank you guys for being with me tonight. And thank you for reaching my minimum. It's scary sometimes, but this is my life. See, that's one of my distortions. I got to create more income that's not related to this channel, or it's related, or maybe offer gifts or sell spiritual related products. So you will see your brother Anuhazi just keep on growing, just like I love to see you guys growing. And we're not perfect down here. We're not calling ourselves masters or gurus. We have so much room to expand. So, holy ones, let's keep on expanding. Keep on keeping it real. Become aware of distortions. Keep it real and heal it. And let's grow. Let's expand. Let's be abundant. Abundance, you guys. Health, abundance, financial independence. We're not meant to be poor or living in, I was homeless. That was obviously a distortion. What the hell am I doing homeless? My thoughts led me there somehow. See, I had to be real for myself. I'm being real. I was going in a 3D path way too long. I wasn't in spiritual values and spiritual goals. No wonder I fell into homelessness. My soul consciousness put me there in order for me to transmute into this journey, in this path. If you're having aches and pains, it's your consciousness. If you're having depression and sadness and heartbroken, it's your consciousness. You can't blame it on some other person. It's all about, no one can make you upset. Only you can allow yourself to become upset, to reacted, into this. Until you get to a point, You're standing in your Christic light. No one can shake you. No one can make you angry or upset or depressed. Nothing and no one can shake you, because you will be unshakable. You'll be unmovable within that higher consciousness. I love you guys. Unconditionally. Omnichristos love. I'll be here on Tuesday. Besides that, Monday through Friday, I'm releasing videos. So check them out. Shaddai Ure Akumtan. Shaddai Ure Akumtan. Shaddai Ure Akumtan. I am Christ Star. I am Christ Star. I am Christ Star. Christos Avatar. Much gratitude to all of you hanging with us tonight. I'll see you guys soon. Make sure to spread and send out that Christic love. That, if you're going to choose between an empath, you want to be a light worker, an actual light worker, an actual empath, not a dark worker, not a dark empath. Know the difference and be the difference. Be the difference. Shine your light, your Christic light. We make a distinction. Christic light. Christ, powerful word. Christ, Christos, powerful words, vibrations, frequencies. See you guys soon. Namaste. Aho. Machiwa. Kathara. Ki ra she. Kun da re. Unasai. Unasai. Blessings, Holy One. See you soon. Yeah, baby. What's up? What's up? Yeah. Spiritual G's, indigo gangsters, gangsters in Christos. Good night, you guys. Love all of you. Special shout out to all my mods. What's up, moderators? What's up, members? What's up, regulars? Regulators? Good night, you guys.